Hello and welcome to Millbrae Station on the southwest side of San Francisco International Airport. Today we are going to be taking a ride on CalTrain's Limited 5 service from here to San Jose Diridon in the heart of San Jose. Our route today will take us south down CalTrain's Peninsula corridor from Millbrae to San Jose, with major stops including San Mateo, Redwood City, Palo Alto, and Santa Clara. Millbrae Station is a major transfer point between BART and CalTrain, a fact helped in part by its proximity and BART service to San Francisco International Airport. Before we can get on our train, we need a ticket. Tickets are available from one of the many kiosks around the station as well as online. Additionally, the local Clipper Metro card can be used on CalTrain fares. CalTrain uses a zone-based fare system, and our trip will take us from Zone 2 to Zone 4, which costs $8.25. After picking up our ticket, we can take a minute to get a better look at the station. The station has a total of 5 tracks. BART Trains uses tracks 1 through 3, with CalTrain on the remaining 2. That being said, BART only actually services track 3, with the island platform of tracks 1 and 2 remaining dormant. Beyond that, the station isn't particularly nice. The upstairs concourse is just a glorified transfer walkway with a few ticket machines. CalTrain is currently working to upgrade its corridor, with an emphasis on electrification. Progress has been slow, but construction on the project is nearing completion. Millbrae's improvements are almost finished, with catenary poles and preliminary wiring running well into the distance in both directions. The final step in the construction process will be the installation of the catenary wire before testing begins on the corridor. Additionally, CalTrain just took delivery of their first 2 Stadler KISS EMUs on March 19th. This is a huge milestone in the project and shows that all of the pieces are starting to fall into place. I will be sure to head back out to the San Francisco area when service begins on these incredible EMUs. After waiting on the platform for a few minutes, our train, CalTrain Limited 5, number 512, pulls into the station. CalTrain uses a combination of these Nippon Sharyo gallery cars and Bombardier bi-level cars. The boarding process is a little interesting, as passengers must first climb up the steps to the first level. This makes them some of the most handicap-inaccessible railcars in the United States. I take a seat on the bottom floor towards the back of this coach for the first part of the journey, and our train departs not long after. As we head out of Millbrae, let's take a quick look at some stats about our train. Our train this afternoon is CalTrain Limited 5 service number 512, and is driven by EMD F40PH locomotive number 900. Each F40PH is powered by a Caterpillar V16 engine producing 3,000 horsepower. Each locomotive is rated for a top speed of 110 miles per hour, but CalTrain operates their fleet at 80 miles per hour. All of the F40PHs in CalTrain's fleet are named, with most being named after stations along the route or major areas of service. Locomotive 900 is the first in the number of CalTrain's revenue service, and fittingly is named San Francisco. If you're enjoying the video so far, why don't you hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. Oh, and hit that bell icon while you're down there so you never miss another video. The seats on CalTrain's gallery cars are about what you'd expect from a commuter train. There's about 6 inches between my knees and the seat in front, which is plenty of space. There are aisle and window armrests in each row, with some including a central armrest with cup holders. The row I was sitting in did not have them, which was a little weird. There really isn't a lot of padding on each seat, with what's left giving way with very little force. Clearly these cars are nearing the end of their life cycle. The interesting aspect of these cars comes not from the seating, but from the abnormal double-decker arrangement employed by gallery cars. The main level is a standard 2x2, but the upper level is far from standard. Gallery cars include 2 mezzanines or balconies to either side of the aisle. This design allows for conductors to easily check tickets and monitor passengers on both levels. As interesting as the design is, it's rather impractical. The upper levels are accessed through 4 sets of stairs at the center of each car, but the stairwells are tiny and very steep. The aisles on each side are barely wide enough to get past the seats, and it would be near impossible for 2 people to pass one another in the aisle here, requiring an empty seat for the operation to be completed. That being said, the view down through the center of the car is pretty cool, and not something you get to see every day. After returning to my seat, I decided to grab my stuff and make my way to the back of the train. I had remembered seeing videos out the back of these trains and wanted to see if I could get a similar view. The doors between cars are pretty heavy, requiring quite a bit of force to get through. The floor towards the ends of each car slopes up for easier access, but in all honesty, it may have been better to just have stairs here, as the doors themselves certainly aren't wheelchair accessible. While we're on our way to the rear of the train, let's take a quick pit stop to check out the bathroom on board. The bathrooms on gallery cars are questionable at best. The entire room is finished in stainless steel, and it looks more like a prison cell than a bathroom on board a train. The yellow toilet seat certainly doesn't instill confidence in the cleanliness of this space. The sink works well enough using a 2-way lever system, and the soap is full, so at least you can clean up well. The paper towels are well stocked, and there's an outlet above the dispenser for those who need one. The bathroom as a whole is coated in a layer of grime, and the metal walls have been etched with graffiti, so overall it's a pretty terrible bathroom. The next car down is a bike car, and the end of the train. My memory had served me well, and the end of the train provided an incredible view down the tracks. Just as I got there, we passed a construction crew working on this section of the CalMod project. Here, the majority of the power poles have been put up, but the wiring still needs to be completed. The next stop on our route is Hillsdale. This station is actually brand new, although the service to Hillsdale is not. A major part of CalMod is grade separation, meaning trains and cars never cross paths, and Hillsdale is a great example of this progress. The station is elevated above road level, while the roadways crossing the tracks were lowered under track level. This grade separation will allow for faster trains and greater service frequency as a result of decreased risk of track encroachment by vehicles and pedestrians. The bike car is a rather interesting exception to the normal car layout. The back half of each car does not have the majority of seats, instead including many bike chaining points. The lack of seats looks super out of place, but it does allow you to get an idea of how wide these cars really are. The main level here only includes 2 sets of 4 seats at the end of the car. Sitting here is quite similar to most other commuter trains, bar the lack of other passengers, with a good 5 to 6 inches between the next seat. CalTrain's current corridor runs at a top speed of 80 miles per hour, seen here on this stretch between Redwood City and Menlo Park. CalTrain's new Stadler KISS EMUs will be able to reach a top speed closer to 100 or 125 miles per hour, and hopefully revenue services will reach that margin. The bike car at the end of each consist also doubles as a cab car. I was hoping there would be a way to see into the cab, so I headed upstairs. Unfortunately, I was met with a solid door and no way to look in, but while we're here, why don't we take a look at the seats up top. The seating here is similar to that of the lower level, but with a few inches of legroom sacrificed for increased capacity. There are grab handles on the aisle side of each seat and an armrest on each side. There are also luggage racks above the open section in the middle of the car for passenger bags, but I would be careful leaving stuff up there as it could be easily snagged by someone on the other side. The last few miles of CalTrain's corridor into San Jose has been fully completed, with catenary wires strung from pole to pole. Full network energization is estimated to be completed by the summer of this year, and testing should begin soon thereafter with former Amtrak AEM-7 toaster locomotives. CalTrain will then move on to extensive testing with their new Stadler KISS EMUs before beginning revenue service in 2024. The last major landmark on our arrival into San Jose is CalTrain's maintenance facility. CalMod has not only included work on the corridor, but here as well, requiring electrification in addition to a whole host of new maintenance equipment to be able to service their new EMUs. Speaking of EMUs, their new KISS EMUs will be housed here for testing in the lead up to revenue service in the coming years. "54 minutes after departing Millbrae, we rolled into San Jose Diridon. CalTrain's corridor extends further south from here to Gilroy, but only a select few trains serve that portion of the line. I don't particularly like gallery cars, but you have to admit that silver finish looks great in the afternoon sun. Heading down the ramp and through the passenger corridor brings us to the main station building. The station is a historic monument of the Southern Pacific Railroad, first opened in 1935. I'll go more in detail on the station in a later video, but for now it's time to head outside and end today's video. Next week I'll be back in South Florida for another ride on Brightline, this time in Smart Class, as well as a look at the progress being made at Brightline's Orlando station and a quick ride with Brightline Plus out to Miami International Airport. If you want to be around when more videos get posted, please hit that subscribe button. It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. I have a lot of awesome content planned in the coming months, so stick around if you want to see more. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.